Hey everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see by my setup, it is time to play Phase 10 chooses my TBR. So I can't believe it is already December. That is crazy to me, and I am so excited to be wrapping up this year. And before we jump into the game, I thought I would let you know about the readathons I'm doing, because I've decided to do all of the readathons. So I've got a list here, because otherwise I will forget. And before I dive into this, the info for all of these will be linked in the description below if you want to check any of them out. So, I'm doing 2 month-long readathons. They will have their own separate TBR videos coming. The first is Merry Bookmas, and I've done this one before, and I'm really excited to participate again this year. The second is the Reindeer Readathon, and this is my first year participating, and I am Team Stocking. I'm very excited to be participating, and some of the prompts were really creative and forced me to really think about what I was going to put on my TBR. I'm doing the Wacky Witches Readathon, which is running from the 2nd to the 4th. And I'm going to tell you right now that there will not be a dedicated TBR video for this because the prompts are a bit open to interpretation. So, like, there are only 3 book prompts, and one of them is finish your current read. Well, I don't know what I'm going to be reading on the 2nd, so I can't tell you what book I'm going to be finishing. And I don't want to plan that because I would like to at least start the month off and be able to look at my TBR and kind of mood read off of it. The second is to finish a book you hope to get to before the end of the year. So that will probably be a Seekers or Survivors book, depending on where I'm at in the series. So can't really tell you which one of them I'm going to read. And then the last one is, I believe, read a book that you think is going to impact you and have an influence on your life or something to that effect. And my nonfiction is going to cover that. So we'll get to that one. Then on the weekend of the 9th, 10th, and 11th, there are 2 readathons taking place. On the 9th through the 11th, the whole weekend, is RomComathon. And then just the 10th and the 11th is the Festive Readathon. I'm going to partake in both of those, and I will release a joint TBR video closer to the dates of those. And then the last readathon I'm planning on doing is Cozmas. So expect some cozy mysteries from me. I will be doing a dedicated TBR video for that one as well. So keep an eye on my channel for all of my TBR videos coming out for all of these amazing readathons. And I had seen more, and I had to cut myself off because otherwise I was just not going to do anything but read in the month of December. Before we get into my nonfictions and my series, I have 2 books I wanted to mention. The first is the Buzz Wordathon pick for the month. The prompt is read a book with a number in the title. And so I'm finally going to get to the No Good 9. I don't know what this is about, but it, I believe, is some sort of Christmas book. It's got dogs on the cover, there's snow and sledding, so I think it's going to give me all of the seasonal vibes that I'm looking for, so hopefully I will enjoy this one, because I meant to get to it last December and I just didn't. And then the other book is the pick for the Cozy Hollow Book Club, and that is Apple Cider Slaying by Julie Ann Lindsay. This was actually the one I voted for, because we got like 4 choices, and this was the one that sounded the most interesting to me. I'm very excited to be picking up another cozy mystery. I've been super in the mood for them, so very excited to have this on my TBR. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into my nonfiction. So the nonfiction book I've chosen for this month is In the Garden of Beasts, Love, Terror, and an American Family in Hitler's Berlin by Erik Larson. I was on Twitter, and I saw somebody mention that they are a teacher, and they had assigned this book as reading, and their students, without being prompted, managed to make many comparisons to the goings-on in this story and things happening in the United States right now. And that made me want to read it. And the reason I am going to be using this for Pris's prompt for a book that will influence you or stick with you, or I can't quite remember the wording. I'll toss the wording up on the screen here. But the reason I've chosen this is because it sounds like it's going to help me draw comparisons with what's going on in current time. And it's going to be hard-hitting, and I just feel like it is a book that is going to stick with me. So I think that fits the gist of the prompt. And I honestly, looking at all of the books I hope to get to in December, did not see another book that would kind of fit those vibes. So this is going to be my nonfiction and will likely fulfill a prompt for Wacky Witches. And now it is time for my series to continue, Jar, and it's going to look a little different because I have room to shake. So in the month of November, I actually went through and looked at my spreadsheet and figured out all of the series I was up to date on, all of the series I had DNF'd, and all of the series I had finished, went through every single piece of paper in this jar, and pulled out the up-to-date series, the DNFs, and the finished series, so that I only have series that need to be continued. My spreadsheet with my up-to-date series has listed the dates of the next book in the series. So if the book is going to be coming out, I will stick it back in my jar. Like, if a book is coming out in January, I will stick the prompt in the jar unless it's towards the end of January. Therefore, it would be unrealistic for me to expect to be able to read it. I figured that was a fair way to keep the jar up to date and to give me some room to shake, because I had to add some series in because I did start some series in November and there was just no more room. So I should hopefully be able to do this without getting too many pieces of paper all over the floor. So I want the yellow one. There we go. Yellow is series 1. Red for series 2. And purple for series 3. Let's see what we have. Okay. Cassidy Blake by Victoria Schwab. So I can do this one. The next book is Tunnel of Bones, and I believe in this book we're following a young girl named Cassidy who has the ability to communicate with ghosts. And her parents are ghost hunters and have their own TV show, but they don't actually believe in ghosts, and they don't realize that their daughter is capable of speaking to ghosts. I believe that is the premise of the series. It's been a while since I read the first one, but I enjoyed the first one enough to want to continue on with the series. And while I would have rather done this in October because it has more of a spooky vibes, it's still a middle grade, so it should be an easier read, so thumbs up for that. Series number 2 is Pax by Sarah Pennypacker. This is another one I can do. The second book is Pax Journey Home, and the first book follows a young boy and his fox, and the boy has to leave his fox because there's a war going on, and we kind of see things from both of their points of view, and I believe it's also historical fiction, because I want to say it's like World War I or World War II. I could be wrong, though. Some of the finer details escape me, but I remember it being very heartwarming, and I love books with animal POVs, so I enjoyed having the fox's POV in addition to the humans, so absolutely thrilled to be reading this, and I believe that as it stands right now, it is a duology, so that would make me up to date, if not finished, with the series. And then series number 3 is the Magical Bakery Mysteries by Bailey Cates. So this one I can definitely do because I own the second one. It's Bewitched, Bothered, and Biscotti. And we're following a woman named Katie, who in the first book is helping her aunt and uncle to start a bakery and ends up finding out that she's a witch. There's obviously a murder involved, as there is with all cozy mysteries. It wasn't my favorite cozy mystery series, but I'm definitely willing to give it a second shot, especially considering I own the second one. And, like I said, I really wanted to read some more cozy mysteries, so I'm down with this one being on my TBR. So those are the 3 series that the TBR jar chose for me. So since we can put this away, it means it's time to get in the game. So it is the 25th of November, and as it stands right now, my TBR, I need to finish An Echo of Things to Come, but I've started it, and I have like 500 pages left, which sounds like a lot, but I still have like 6 days a month to do so, so I'm not worried about that. I have The Holiday Swap, another book I am not at all worried about getting to and finishing because I'm very excited to read that one as a kind of switch to December Christmassy mode. And then I have Defend the Dawn, which is a 5-star prediction, is Bridget Kemmer, and I'm planning on reading in the next couple days. So I don't think I'm going to be taking any punishments. If I do have to take a punishment, it will be in a vlog, because I'm going to be editing this to get it out, so I won't know until December 1st if I'm going to have to take a punishment, most likely. So I will put it in my vlog, and I will try my hardest to get my vlog up, so that you guys can see what I ended up having to read. But for now, no punishments, and fingers crossed it stays that way. So I'm going for a run of 9. I just need a 2, and then I can move on to my next phase, and well, I'm expecting some wilds, but I have a ridiculous TBR, so this might not be the worst months to get wilds in. I've got my draw pile, my die, and my cards. The one other thing I have to say is I decided after last month to take out Try Again Author, because every time I pull this, I dread it. I could get big book, I can get lowest rated, I could get I don't even know, like, longest book on your TBR, and just this is the only prompt that I see and go, oh god, why that one? So, because this is supposed to be fun and help me find books that I want to read, I think I'm going to take that one out because it just isn't doing anything for me. So, with that being said, it's time to dive into the game and do draw number 1. We have a 4. And the prompt for Blue 4 is actually lowest rated. Okay, so by just 1 point, my lowest rated is a 3.31 according to Goodreads, and it is The Last Buccaneer. That is not inspiring a lot of confidence. This is a historical fiction that follows Penn Davenport, an infamous buccaneer in Europe in London in 1890. We shall see if this is any good or if it's got a rating that it absolutely deserves. I've really enjoyed reading a ton of historical fiction in November, so I'm not at all adverse to reading some more in December, but my only drawback is the low rating. Although I will say, it is possible I do own a book that is lower rated than that. I haven't updated Goodreads in a while with the books I bought in 2022, so I probably need to get on that at some point. But as of right now, the books I have access to in the numbers, this is my lowest rated, so this is what I will be reading. Draw number 2 is a 12. And the prompt for Yellow 12 is highest rated. You literally can't make this crap up. What are the odds? Okay, so again, this might not actually be my highest rated because there's a bunch of books I need to add, but of the books that I have added, my highest rated book is a 4.55, very different than the last one, and it is Fire in the Star by Camilla Benko. This is the 3rd book in the Unicorn Quest series, and in this series, we're following sisters, Sophie and Claire, I believe, and I believe in the first book, they go up a chimney and end up in a completely different land. I'm definitely going to have to read the descriptions of the first 2 books to see if there's enough there to jog my memory. Otherwise, I will have to figure it out as I go along, but this would bring me up to date on the series. I don't know if there's going to be more. Maybe the answer will become clear at the end. Sometimes I've found that the author's note actually tells you that the series is over. I don't always know if it's not explicitly stated, but either way, this will make me caught up on this series, so I'm good with that. Draw number 3 is my 2, which means I'm definitely going with this red one. And I will tell you, I've picked that up off the floor. You would not believe how many times. The cats kept knocking it down. They thought it was a toy. So the prompt for red 1 is book about books. This one is easy. For this, I'm going to be reading Murder in the Cookbook Nook by Ellery Adams. This is the 7th book, I believe, in the Book Retreat mystery series, and we're following Jane, who owns a inn with her aunt and uncle, and they do like kind of like bookish conventions or themes, and they have this beautiful library in there, and they really like to focus on getting off your electronic devices. So this is definitely a book that features books, and it's a cozy mystery. So very excited to be diving back into this series. And given that my phase is complete, I now have to redo that, so I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, so as you can see, the board is now set up. The next phase is 2 sets of 4, so I'm going for 7s and 1s. I'm using my wild as a 1, so I have 3 1s and 2 7s. I have a skip, which means at some point I will get to just completely skip a prompt. As silly as it may sound, I may actually save that for January, so that I might be able to do a lot more mood reading in January. I don't know. We'll see how many prompts I end up with. And of course, if I pull nothing but 7s and 1s, I'll have no choice, but don't think that's likely. So, on to draw number 4. And it's a 12. And the prompt for green 12 is LGBTQ+ wrapped. I know exactly what I'm reading for this. It's Nikhil Out Loud by Malik Pancholi. And in this, we're following 13-year-old Nikhil, who is a beloved voice actor for Raj Reddy on the hit animated series Raj Reddy in Outer Space. But when his mom temporarily moves them to a small town in Ohio where she grew up to take care of Nikhil's grandfather, Nikhil feels as out of orbit as his character. Nikhil's fame lands him the lead in the school musical, but he's terrified that everyone will realize he's a fraud once they find out he has stage fright. And when a group of conservative parents starts to protest having an openly gay actor in the starring role, Nikhil feels like his life would be easier if only he could be Raj Reddy full-time. Then Nikhil wakes up one morning and hears a crack in his voice, which means his job playing Raj will have to come to an end. Life on Earth is way more complicated than life on TV. And some mysteries, like new friendships or sick grandparent or finding the courage to speak out, don't wrap up neatly between commercial breaks. This will be the second book I'm reading by this author, and I gave the first book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, so I'm very excited to get to this one. And I'm hoping I love this one just as much. Draw number 5 is a blue 11. Oh, that was almost a red 11. The prompt for blue 11 is dictionary.com. So the idea behind this prompt is to go to dictionary.com where they have a word of the day. I then take the word of the day and find a book that reminds me of that word. So the word of the day is
Genoise.
Genoise. I'll put it on the screen. And its meaning is a light yellow cake made with eggs and butter and typically layered, filled, and frosted or made into petite fours for serving. So, for Genoise, which is some kind of cake, I'm going to read Bewitched, Bothered, and Biscotti since it's a magical bakery mystery, and in bakeries, you find lots of cakes. I think that is probably as close as I'm going to get. The moment I saw what it was, I knew I was probably going to end up with a cozy mystery, and I'm sitting there going, do I have any cozy mysteries that involve cakes? And then you should have seen the light bulb pop off above my head because, well, this came out of my series to continue drawing. So this will be my choice for Genoise. Draw number 6 is a 4. And the prompt for red 4 is middle grade. So for middle grade, I'm going to read Red Moon Rising by Aaron Hunter. This is the 4th book in the second arc of 6 of the Survivor series. I'm now guaranteeing that I'm going to read the first 3. I haven't gotten to any of them yet. They were on my November TBR, but I want to finish Survivors and Seekers before the end of the year. So putting this on here will give me the kick in the butt I need to at least get close to finishing it. And don't be surprised if you maybe, possibly might see this on one of my readathon TBRs, and that maybe kind of influenced my choice. Draw number 7 is a yellow 9. And the prompt for yellow 9 is historical fiction. So for this, I'm going to read Death at the Manor by Catherine Shellman. This is the 3rd book in the Lily Alder mystery series, and this takes place in Regency era, like England, and we're following a widow named Lily who ends up solving crimes. This is the most recent book in the series, so it would catch me up on a series. I've really enjoyed the series, and it's a cozy mystery, so wins all around. Draw number 8 is a 2. And the prompt for green 2 is red cover. So for this, I'm going to read The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a 5-star prediction, so I needed to get to it anyways, and I'm very excited to get to it. This is the 3rd and final book in the Inheritance trilogy. Sorry, the Inheritance Games trilogy. And in this series, we're following, I think her name's Avery. Yes. Who in the 1st book finds out that a random billionaire stranger she's never met has left her his entire fortune while cutting all of his loved ones out of his will. And there's tons of games and puzzles as to why he did this and conditions that she has to meet to inherit, and well, we get to see that journey, and I've really enjoyed the first 2 books, and I'm looking forward to finishing the series. So again, another one all around. You're being really nice to me. It's suspicious. I'm really not trusting how nice this board is being to me. I'm expecting trouble, but draw number 9 is an 8, so somehow still nice to me. The prompt for Yellow 8 is BIPOC rap. So for this, I'm going to read The Dragon Thief by Zetta Elliott. This is the second book in the Dragons in a Bag series. In the first book, we follow Jax, who ends up with a bag of dragons and has to kind of deal with the consequences of that. It was a really cute first book in the series. I really enjoyed it, and I am definitely down to read the second book, and it's also short, which is nice. And for what may be my final draw number 10. There it is! We was all waiting for that. Let's try this again. Draw number 10, part 2 is an 8. And the prompt for Red 8 is romance. So, with RomComathon coming up, I definitely have some romances on my TBR, so this one was easy, and I'm going to go with Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellaflor. This is the second book in... I don't know the name of the series off the top of my head, but the first book was written in the stars, and this is a companion novel, and we're following characters we met in the first book, and I really enjoyed the first book, which is hard with me with romance because I am very picky when it comes to my romance, so if I have to read a romance, then I'm down to continue series because I at least know that I like the writing style and that it's not too spicy for me. So I will be reading Hang the Moon. So I have my die. We're going to roll it and see how many extra prompts I have to pull. 1, please. That worked well. Let's try that again. I got a 1. Don't ask me how I did that, but I actually got a 1. So as long as this one isn't a wild, I'm done. Wild 1, draw 1. Is a 7, and I get to keep it. So, which of those do I pick? Well, I think, and here's my logic. I've had 2 12s, 2 4s, and 2 8s, so it should be between the 2 and the 9. Because then I'll have 2 of those. And since I have 3 yellows, I'll go with the blue 9. There's no rhyme or reason to this other than that random sort of logic I just came up with. Please be kind, please be kind, please be kind. The prompt for blue 9 is old favorite author. It was kind to me. So, in a surprise to no one, I'm going with Aaron Hunter, and I'm going to read The Exile's Journey. This is the 5th book in the second arc of 6 of Survivors, so I've managed to get books 4 and 5 on my TBR. So, yeah, definitely can't see me finishing at book 5 and not picking up book 6 immediately, so I will be finishing Survivors, and my TBR game was kind to me. I have no idea why. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. It was nice to me for Christmas. It gave me books that I pretty much wanted to read anyways. There were a few I had to kind of go off brand for, but I think in the end it all worked out really, really well. You should see the mess of books at my feet because I have all of my possibilities and all of my other TBRs here to draw from. So I have options, and yeah. It's a mess, but I have decided December is going to be just an insanely busy reading month, so we'll see how I can do, but for the Phase 10 part, the part that I absolutely have to complete, I'm not feeling too stressed out about it. So those are some of the books that I'm going to be reading this month. Please, please wish me luck. All of my social media is linked down below if you'd like to come chat with me, or if you'd like to buddy read any of these books with me. I love doing buddy reads, so reach out to me if you'd like to buddy read any of these, or to buddy read a book in general. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me winter, festive emojis. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!